In travel news, for September 16th, 2024, we talk about Oceania Cruises' exciting new Alaska sailings for 2025, the latest delay in Real ID enforcement until 2027, and upcoming strikes across Europe in September that could disrupt travel plans. But before we begin, I'm Brandon with the Adept Traveler, an award-winning travel agency that makes travel so easy. Even a blind traveler like myself can do it. And now, today in travel. Oceania Cruises, known for their luxurious small ship experiences, has announced their plans for an exciting series of Alaskan sailings aboard the Riviera in 2025. These voyages, run from May through September, promise a unique blend of adventure and comfort. With itineraries that highlight the breathtaking beauty of Alaska's wilderness, Oceania's Alaska sailings offer travelers a remarkable way to experience one of the world's last great frontiers. For those looking for an unforgettable cruise experience, the Riviera provides an exceptional blend of luxury, culture, and nature, catering to travelers of all ages. The decision by Oceania Cruises to send the 1,250-passenger ship Riviera to Alaska in 2025 is exciting news for both seasoned and new travelers to the region. From May through September, guests can embark on itineraries ranging from 7 to 12 days, departing from Seattle, Vancouver, and Whittier. These cruises will offer a deep exploration of Alaska's unique landscapes, wildlife, and culture. The small ship experience allows guests to visit less crowded, off-the-beaten-path ports, providing a more intimate interaction with Alaska's untouched wilderness. To enrich the experience, Oceania will have a naturalist aboard the Riviera. These experts will share in-depth insights about Alaska, also known as the last frontier. Whether it's to learn about local wildlife, ecosystems, or the history of Alaska's exploration, travelers will gain a greater appreciation for the remarkable destination. Oceania Cruises stands out in the market with its focus on curated destination immersive shore excursions, and Alaska is no exception. Guests on the 2025 Alaska sailings can choose from a variety of food-focused excursions, from an Alaskan-style brunch that highlights local cuisine to a hands-on crabbing experience. There's something to satisfy every culinary enthusiast. This focus on local flavors brings travelers closer to the region's culture while satisfying their gourmet cravings, a signature of Oceania's reputation for exceptional dining experiences. Families traveling aboard the Riviera will also appreciate the Alaska Explorer Youth Program, designed for children ages 5 to 12. This program offers educational and interactive activities, allowing younger guests to learn about Alaska's wildlife, geography, and culture in a fun and engaging environment. It's an excellent way to keep the family entertained while enriching the overall travel experience. For those looking to extend their adventure, Oceania offers pre- and post-cruise land programs, including visits to the iconic Denali National Park. These extensions allow travelers to experience more of Alaska's interior, from its towering mountains to its abundant wildlife, adding depth to an already rich travel experience. For travelers looking to experience Alaska in 2025, Oceania Cruises offers a distinctive way to explore this wild and majestic region. One of the key advantages of sailing with Oceania is the size of the Riviera. The ship is 30 to 50% smaller than many other premium cruise liners, enabling it to access smaller, less traveled ports. This translates into fewer crowds and a more personalized experience, allowing guests to enjoy Alaska without the hustle of larger ships. Additionally, Oceania's reputation for refined elegance and top-tier dining means that guests will enjoy a cruise that is as much about onboard luxury as it is about off-the-ship adventure, with a range of shore excursions designed to immerse travelers in the local culture, including culinary tours and nature explorations. Oceania provides a complete Alaska experience that balances adventure with comfort. For families, the inclusion of the Alaska Explorer Youth Program means that younger travelers can enjoy a meaningful and educational vacation. Meanwhile, adults can explore Alaska's more remote and intimate destinations, far from the heavily trafficked tourist spots. Oceania Cruises' decision to bring the Riviera to Alaska in 2025 presents an exciting opportunity for travelers seeking an exclusive, luxurious, and deeply immersive experience. With the combination of smaller ship size, unique shore excursions, and onboard experts, Oceania offers something truly special for those looking to explore Alaska. The family-friendly features, such as the youth program, make it an ideal option for those traveling with children, while the elegant dining and smaller ports cater to discerning travelers seeking a premium experience. For anyone considering an Alaska cruise in the coming years, Oceania Cruises stands out as a top choice for luxury, adventure, and cultural immersion. The U.S. Transportation Security Administration has proposed yet another delay for the enforcement of the Real ID program, potentially pushing the full implementation deadline to May 2027. This delay follows a series of previous postponements since the Real ID Act was passed in 2005. Originally designed to enhance national security, the Act requires that all U.S. citizens obtain a Real ID-compliant driver's license or identification card to access federal facilities, board commercial flights, and enter certain restricted areas. However, the continued postponement has left many travelers wondering how the delay impacts their future travel plans. The Real ID Act was enacted in 2005 as a recommendation from the 9/11 Commission to tighten security standards for identification used at federal facilities and airports. However, the rollout of the program has faced many delays. Originally set to take effect in 2008, the implementation has been postponed multiple times due to logistical challenges, state compliance issues, and public unpreparedness. The most recent delay pushed the deadline from May 2023 to May 2025, and now the TSA is considering extending the timeline even further to May 2027. This continued delay reflects concerns over the potential chaos at airports and federal facilities if millions of Americans are suddenly barred from traveling or accessing government buildings. Despite years of preparation, more than 124 million U.S. citizens still do not possess a Real ID-compliant identification card. While the proposed delay to 2027 offers some breathing room, the TSA has indicated that phased enforcement will begin on May 7, 2025. This means that travelers who do not yet have a Real ID or an alternative form of acceptable identification, such as a U.S. passport, may face delays at airport security checkpoints. TSA's flexibility plan allows for gradual enforcement to mitigate disruptions, meaning that agencies may issue warnings or impose progressive consequences rather than immediately barring travelers from flights. The TSA emphasizes the importance of obtaining a Real ID sooner rather than later to avoid any travel inconveniences. In some cases, agencies may offer travelers up to 3 warnings before imposing travel restrictions. However, not all agencies will adopt this leniency, and some may choose to fully enforce the rules starting in 2025. As a result, it is strongly recommended that travelers update their identification before the 2025 deadline to avoid potential issues. For most travelers, the delayed enforcement of Real ID means a temporary reprieve from the immediate need to update their identification. However, this doesn't mean that travelers should wait until the last minute to obtain a compliant ID. The TSA is encouraging all air passengers aged 18 and older to ensure that they have the appropriate identification well before May 2025 to avoid potential travel disruptions. Without a Real ID, travelers may be forced to wait in longer lines at security checkpoints, face additional scrutiny, or even risk being denied boarding on future flights. The delay also presents an opportunity for states and territories to ramp up their issuance of Real ID compliant cards. Currently, only about 56% of state-issued IDs meet Real ID requirements, leaving a significant portion of the population without the necessary documentation to fly domestically. With the extra time, both the TSA and state agencies can work together to ensure a smoother transition for all travelers. With the deadline pushed back again, many travelers may feel tempted to delay obtaining a Real ID compliant identification card. However, it is important to be proactive to avoid last-minute complications as the 2025 phased enforcement date approaches. First, travelers should check whether their current driver's license or state-issued ID is already Real ID compliant. This can be easily identified by looking for a star marking in the upper corner of the card. If your ID is not compliant, it's advisable to apply for a Real ID as soon as possible. The application process typically involves visiting your local Department of Motor Vehicles and providing additional documentation such as a birth certificate, proof of residency, and your Social Security number. For those who travel frequently and may not be able to obtain a Real ID before the 2025 deadline, having an alternative form of acceptable identification is crucial. Other forms of ID, such as a U.S. passport, U.S. military ID, or an enhanced state driver's license, will still allow you to fly domestically and access federal facilities. Additionally, staying informed on the latest updates from the Transportation Security Administration is essential as the deadline nears. Keeping track of potential changes to the enforcement timeline or new requirements can help avoid any surprises when traveling. Taking these steps now will ensure you are prepared and avoid unnecessary delays as Real ID enforcement begins. While the continued delay of the Real ID enforcement may ease immediate concerns for travelers, it is clear that the need to comply is inevitable. The phased enforcement beginning in 2025 means that travelers must act sooner rather than later to avoid unnecessary delays and complications. Whether you're a frequent flyer or occasional traveler, obtaining a Real ID or alternative identification will be crucial to ensuring smooth and hassle-free travel in the years ahead. As the TSA and federal agencies continue to work towards full enforcement by 2027, now is the time to prepare for the changes and avoid any last-minute surprises at the airport. Strikes are a common occurrence across Europe as workers regularly take action to advocate for better pay and working conditions. These strikes can be announced well in advance or occur with very little notice, meaning it's essential for travelers to stay informed and plan ahead to avoid disruptions. Travelers in Brussels, Belgium, should be prepared for disruptions to public transportation today, September 16, 2024, due to a national strike. The strike is expected to impact services across the city, including the metro, trains, and buses. Certain lines will have reduced services, which may cause delays and longer travel times for passengers. The industrial action is in solidarity with workers at Audi's Brussels factory, which is facing closure, and a rally was scheduled to begin at North Train Station at 10:30 a.m. Recent strikes have already caused issues in the region, with the South Charleroi airport disrupted by walkouts on Thursday. For travelers currently passing through Brussels, it's advisable to check the status of public transportation ahead of time and consider alternative travel options where possible. In France, EasyJet staff have filed an indefinite strike notice beginning today, September 16, 2024. This action comes in response to the airline's decision to close its hub in Toulouse, which has prompted concern among workers over job security. While exact dates for the walkouts have yet to be confirmed, travelers flying with EasyJet should be prepared for potential disruptions to services across the country, as the strike could affect EasyJet flights departing from or arriving in multiple French airports. Passengers are advised to monitor flight updates closely and be ready for possible delays or cancellations. The indefinite nature of the strike means that it may continue for several days or even weeks. So staying informed is crucial for those planning to fly within or to France in the near future. Public transportation services in Lisbon, Portugal, will be disrupted on September 18, 2024, due to a planned strike by workers at Caras, the company responsible for operating the city's buses, trams, and funiculars. The strike will begin at 10 p.m. on the night of September 17th and last until midnight on September 18th, unless a resolution is reached in negotiations with the transport operator. A quick aside, a funicular is a type of cable railway that transports passengers up and down steep slopes by using two counterbalanced cars connected by a cable, with one ascending while the other descends. While the strike will impact most public transportation in Lisbon, essential services will still run, including those for disabled passengers and emergency services. However, travelers using Lisbon's public transportation system should expect delays and reduced services during this period. If you plan to visit Lisbon or commute within the city on these dates, it's important to plan alternative travel arrangements or leave extra time for your journey. Italy will see a nationwide public transportation strike on September 20th, 2024, affecting passengers across the country. The 24-hour strike is set to disrupt buses, trams, and commuter trains as workers walk out in protest over pay and working conditions. This could lead to significant delays and cancellations for those relying on public transportation, particularly in major cities such as Rome, Milan, and Florence. Travelers in Italy during this time should plan for potential disruptions and consider alternative ways to get around, such as taxis, rental cars, or walking. It's also worth checking the status of any scheduled trains or buses in advance to minimize travel delays. To minimize the impact of these strikes on your travel plans, it's essential to stay informed and plan ahead. If you're traveling through Belgium, France, Portugal, or Italy in mid to late September, regularly check updates from local transportation operators and airlines for the latest information on potential disruptions. Booking flexible tickets and allowing extra time for travel could save you from unnecessary stress. In addition, consider alternative forms of transportation, such as taxis or rental cars, especially on days when public transportation is expected to be heavily impacted. In Brussels, where public transportation is already limited due to walkouts, consider traveling earlier in the day or using rideshare services. In France, EasyJet passengers should closely monitor flight status updates and be prepared for potential cancellations, especially if flying out of Toulouse or other major airports. For those traveling through Lisbon on September 18th, it might be best to explore the city on foot or use alternative transportation methods. Meanwhile, visitors in Italy on September 20th should make use of taxis, car rentals, and other services to ensure smoother travel during the nationwide strike. By preparing in advance and staying flexible, travelers can mitigate the effects of these planned strikes and ensure a smoother journey across Europe during this period of industrial action. Strikes across Europe are a frequent reality that travelers must contend with, and September 2024 is no exception. From public transportation walkouts in Brussels and Lisbon to airline disruptions in France and a nationwide public transportation strike in Italy, these events have the potential to cause significant delays and inconveniences. For travelers, the key to navigating these strikes is preparation. By staying informed about strike schedules, monitoring transportation updates, and planning alternative travel arrangements where necessary, you can reduce the impact of these disruptions on your journey. While strikes are often beyond a traveler's control, a little foresight can go a long way in ensuring a smoother and more enjoyable experience. Keep an eye on official updates. Stay flexible and be prepared to adjust your plans as needed. If you're traveling through Europe during this period, taking these steps will help you avoid unnecessary stress and keep your trip on track. Today in Travel is brought to you by The Adept Traveler, an award-winning travel agency that specializes in making travel easier for everyone. From the novice to the expert, from the able-bodied to the disabled traveler, it's our belief that everybody deserves to travel better. Until next time, travel well, my friends.